This is the story of Idam. She says it's about 50 to 60 years old. My uncle and grandfather have both passed away. When my grandfather Aslam was born, his parents were alive, but his uncle wanted to adopt him because he felt so much love for him. For clarity, I'll call the uncle Mehraban and the grandfather Aslam. Mehraban was a famous wrestler in his area, known far and wide. He wasn't interested in fighting people, but loved exercise and building his body. He was really passionate about it. Back then, there were no gyms, just a clay wrestling pit where wrestlers would train. Mehraban had two main hobbies: eating great food and building a strong, beautiful body. As he started wrestling, his physique became so impressive that people would stop and stare at him. Allah blessed him with such good looks and a fair complexion that he looked almost foreign, like an Englishman. He was over 6 feet tall, and his diet was intense. He'd drink a whole kilo of desi ghee straight from the ball every morning. Most people today can't even imagine that, but he could handle it because of his intense workouts. It didn't even feel like he needed more food. Now, someone building a strong body like that, how could others not challenge him? There were many wrestlers around at that time, and one day someone challenged him. You just keep building your body and act like a wrestler. Come on, let's have a one-on-one match. That was the first day of his life he was about to wrestle. He looked the challenger in his eyes and asked, "What did you say? One hand each?" The other said, "Yes. Are you angry, Mehraban? Are you scared?" Mehraban put one hand behind his back, ready to wrestle with just one hand. The other wrestler was confused. Mehraban explained, "You said one hand each, so I'll fight with one hand." People gathered, clapping and excited. It was the first time Mehraban, who would never fought before, was about to wrestle. Everyone wanted to see what he was made of. The sweet, tall man with an excellent physique came to the arena. Both stood face to face. He moved one hand back, and as he advanced to fight, the world saw for the first time that Mehraban defeated the wrestler using just one hand. No one expected he had such strength, that he could throw someone down with one hand. The wrestler thought he would use his tricks and strength, but he had no idea. He just saw a tall, broad man who liked to eat, not realizing he was actually so powerful. Mehraban threw him down with one hand, and the applause that day made people realize how strong Mehraban was. After that, challenges kept coming. Mehraban said he never built himself to be a wrestler, but since he defeated that man, everyone started challenging him. He kept accepting those challenges and never lost a match, always winning with one hand. Yes, his diet changed. He started drinking 1 to 2 kilos of tea. They say from 2 to 3, 3 to 4. And finally, he stopped at 5. He could drink 5 kilos of desi ghee at once. Just imagine what kind of body someone would have if they could drink 5 kilos of tea. He was 6¼ feet tall, broad, and always busy at the wrestling ground. Allah gave him so much respect through wrestling that his name became legendary. When he drank 5 kilos of tea, he had become a great wrestler, famous in the whole area. Mehraban was a man who had never lost a match in his life. He would defeat everyone, fighting with just one hand, and would strike with precision. No one could stand against him. People came from far and wide, and his fame spread everywhere. Big wrestlers came to challenge him, but no one could beat him, and that's how Mehraban's name became huge. He never wanted to build his body just for wrestling, but he ended up becoming a great wrestler, winning many matches. They say Mehraban even won medals during that era. He was awarded a big medal by the government. He kept playing, kept winning, and became a living legend. He was a man whose name made the world tremble. Wrestlers were scared to face him and would say, "No, man, we don't want to fight him." He had faced many challenges and normal matches, but every time, he was declared the winner. Time kept passing like this. Back then, wrestling was the main entertainment for villagers. They enjoyed it a lot. Mehraban had become the pride of his area. Everyone who met him would greet him, love him, and respect him. Even strangers would treat him kindly, knowing he was someone from their village and deserving of respect. His fame spread so far that even people from distant places would greet him with love and respect, and he always responded with the same kindness. He knew people loved him for his name and his wrestling. In those days, owning a bicycle was a big deal. Mehraban got one too. While playing kabaddi, he adopted a child from his brother, named Aslam, who was actually his grandfather's son. Mehraban was also his grandfather's uncle, and Aslam was about 19 years old by then. Mehraban used to take that child to the wrestling arena every day and teach him all the wrestling moves and techniques. Aslam was really happy because he was growing up under Mehraban's care, who was rating him like his own son. Aslam loved learning from such a famous wrestler. One morning, they both set out for a nearby village. Mehraban took out his bicycle, put Aslam in front on the bar, and rode them both to the other village. They played their match, spent the evening there, ate dinner, and by the time they left, it was already night. The hosts were very loving and didn't want them to leave, insisting they stay the night and go home in the morning. But Mehraban said no. Since they hadn't told anyone at home they'd be staying, people would worry. There were no telephones back then, so the family would be waiting with the doors open. So, they took permission, said goodbye, and left for home. Mehraban, the strong wrestler, cycling with 19 years old, Aslam in front. The young Aslam was sitting while cycling, and they had covered more than half the way. About 70% of the journey was done. Only 30% was left to reach their village. The road they were cycling on at that late hour, around 11 or 12 night, wasn't paved. It was a dirt road. It was the kind of road where, because of donkey carts passing, a wide path had formed. Camel carts, bullock carts, and donkey carts would pass and make the road wide enough for two carts to cross each other at the same time. It wasn't very wide, but just enough for crossing. The night was silent everywhere. In those days, people in the village would sleep by 7:30 or 8 p.m., and even the latest sleepers would be in bed by 8. People would wake up at 4 in the morning. As they cycled, sometimes dogs would bark, sometimes jackals would howl, and sometimes there would be other animal sounds. But that brave man, with his lantern hanging on the cycle's handlebar, quietly kept pedaling through the darkness. While cycling towards home, they passed by canals, fields, and clusters of trees, but kept moving towards their destination. Suddenly, they started hearing noise. Music was playing, drums were beating. Aslam looked up at his father and said, "Father, it sounds like there's a wedding going on." Even though Mehraban was carrying a 19-year-old boy on the cycle, he wasn't tired at all and replied, "Yes, I hear the drums too. Must be a wedding." As they moved forward, the sound kept getting closer. Soon, they saw that the wedding procession was right on the same road they were cycling on, blocking the way. The whole road was filled with the wedding party. They stopped the cycle since there was no way ahead, and started watching the wedding, realizing it was a late-night event, probably because people had come from distant villages. Since the road was blocked, they couldn't go any further. They noticed that the people in the wedding procession were wearing very nice clothes. Their faces looked like typical villagers, not too fair, not too dark, but a bit wheatish from working in the sun. The clothes, though, were fancy and expensive, which was rare to see. Among them, two elderly men wearing turbans, big shalwar kameez, traditional shoes, and shawls on their shoulders slowly walked over and greeted them with "Assalamu alaikum." Mehraban and Aslam replied, "Walaikum assalam," and stopped as the elders approached. The elders who came over said, "You are our guests, you've come here by fate. We invite you to join our wedding, share in our happiness, and celebrate with us." Mehraban understood it was a nearby village wedding, and either they recognized him or it was just the tradition of that time. Everyone warmly invited even strangers to join. At first, Mehraban politely declined and said they needed to get home, as people usually do out of courtesy. But the elders insisted, "No, we truly want you to join us. Please don't leave. Come, enjoy the wedding, have some food and drink, and then you can go." Mehraban realized these loving people wouldn't let them leave, so he signaled Aslam to get down. Aslam got off the cycle, and they both started walking, with Mehraban pushing the bike to the side. The elders led them through the wedding crowd, asking people to make way, and soon brought them to a tent set up nearby. They parked the cycle outside and were invited to sit inside. In those days, everyone would sit on the ground in the tent, no tables or chairs like today. Inside, lanterns were hanging, lighting up the place, and men, women, and children were all dressed in fancy, expensive clothes. From their faces, it was clear these were villagers from nearby. They sat down on the ground, and a tray with sweets was brought and placed in front of them. Mehraban and Aslam picked up a gulab jamun and started eating. It was so delicious that they couldn't stop. Even though Aslam wasn't hungry, he started eating too. The gulab jamun and other sweets were so tasty that they finished the whole tray. Soon, someone noticed the tray was empty and brought another tray of sweets, placing it in front of them. Meanwhile, some people who were dancing outside came in, grabbed a couple of guys by the hands, and started pulling them up to dance. Before they knew it, about 15 people were up dancing, all having a great time. About 15 to 20 people were now dancing in the middle of the big tent, while everyone else, men, women, kids, elders, sat around watching. Suddenly, a little village boy in cute clothes ran up and stood right in front of Aslam. As Aslam looked down, he was shocked to see the boy's feet were backwards. He looked up at the boy's face and felt a chill run through him. The boy just stood there, expressionless, staring seriously at them. Aslam kept checking, thinking, "Am I dreaming or is this real?" But the boy's feet stayed reversed. Aslam felt a strange fear, like someone seeing a jinn, his heart racing, body trembling. He turned to tell his father, Mehraban, about the boy's backward feet, but saw his father looking elsewhere. When Aslam followed his father's gaze, he noticed all the people dancing had backward feet too. He realized his father had already noticed, and as their eyes met, the mysterious boy walked away. The boy signaled with his finger on his lips and eyes, as if to say, "You saw nothing." At that moment, A man came straight over and reached out his hand to both of them. Someone reached out to Aslam and Mehraban, inviting them to dance, but Aslam was already terrified. Mehraban quickly made excuses, saying they were tired and unwell from traveling a long distance by cycle, so they couldn't dance. The man accepted their excuse and left, but then the old man returned, asking if they didn't like the sweets. Mehraban reassured him, saying they loved the sweets and had eaten a whole tray. As they started eating again, Mehraban glanced at the old man's feet. He was wearing traditional shoes, but now his feet were also backwards. They forced themselves to eat a little more sweets, waiting for a chance to leave. Finally, the old man came back, and they politely asked for permission to go, saying they'd take the leftover sweets home. The old man agreed, brought them a big wooden box of sweets, and thanked them for joining the wedding. Trying to act normal, though terrified inside, Mehraban and Aslam thanked everyone and were escorted outside to their cycle. Want to hear what happens as they leave? Even as they left, the wedding was still in full swing, lanterns, drums, dancing, and happiness everywhere. But now they realized everyone at the wedding had backward feet. It was a wedding of jinns. Terrified, they tied the sweet box to the cycle, rushed home, and collapsed on their beds, burning with fever by morning. It took the whole day and a visit from the local doctor to get them back to normal. In the evening, they finally told their family about the 5-kilogram sweet box hidden at home. When the family opened it, there were no sweets, just a horrible, rotten smell and filth inside. Inside the box was just dry, rotten filth with a horrible smell. Everyone covered their noses in disgust. After seeing this, they told the whole family about the jinns, wedding and the sweets turning to filth. The story became famous in their family, and it's said that Mehraban lived over 100 years, always strong and never needing support.